have a confession. I wore these glasses to look smart. My vision, absolutely perfect. But it works, right? We are good at deceiving human brain. It quite often associates accessories with smartness, seriousness, or stupidity. Think of a girl who lives next door. A girl who maintains sober clothing, wears a pair of rimless glasses, and flaunts a copy of English magazine. You might not know her personally, but you form your impression about her. And I believe a man is known by his language. What really changes others' attitudes towards us isn't only the outer look. It isn't the glasses, clothes, or even a great haircut. It's the language we speak, what we speak, how we speak, and knowing when not to speak. Today, I'm here to talk about the power of language, not just as a tool for communication, but as something that transforms who we are. And when I first started learning English, it felt like trying to solve a Rubik's Cube. I guess it isn't working. Yes, this Rubik's Cube. And you know the feeling. You twist, you turn, but the colors still don't match. That's exactly how I felt about learning English. I wasn't fluent at all. Far from it. Let me give you an example. I was about 16 years old when I first started, when I decided to take learning English seriously. I went to a learning center called American Academy to inquire joining the language classes. And I was nervous but determined. The teacher there, one of the best I ever had, asked me a simple question: where are you from? At the time, my English was very basic, elementary, I guess. I only knew how to say, I'm from Uzbekistan. And that's what I said. And he smiled and said, I know you are from Uzbekistan, but where in Uzbekistan? And that's when I froze, because I didn't have the vocabulary to continue the conversation. You know, the way we were taught at school, when someone asks, where are you from? We were taught to respond, I'm from Uzbekistan, and that's it. And then he switched to Uzbek and explained that he was asking to know whether I was from the neighborhood or from another city. He took me his intermediate class despite my hesitation and said, you will catch up later. And fast forward a year, I wasn't just catching up, I was thriving. I went from barely being able to say a word to confidently speaking with strangers and even holding meaningful conversations. What changed? My mindset. You know, I used to think learning languages was hard. But here is the truth. I hadn't tried to learn one yet. The moment I truly gave it a shot, my perspective completely changed. As for me, learning English became more than a subject or a skill. It became a part of who I am. And learning languages is like discovering a superpower. The opportunities are endless. Plus, when you learn a new language, you're not just learning words for the same things, but you are learning to think in a completely new way. And it's like, it's like giving your brain a workout in the most entertaining way possible. And as Flora Lewis, a journalist, once said, learning another language isn't only learning different words for the same things, but learning another way to think about things. I couldn't agree more. Before I dive into the magic of languages, let me be honest with you. I'm not one of those people who speak 8 languages fluently. I wish I were. I am fluent in 2 languages, Uzbek my first and English my second. The others, like Turkish, Japanese, and Russian, I can barely introduce myself. That's where I'm at. And it's okay. And when I started learning Japanese, I was able to pick up hiragana and katakana, the alphabet, in a very short time, about a week, if I recall correctly. You know, that's because of my curiosity, my passion for learning languages. As for Russian, I watched Russian TV shows, and while I can't speak it fluently, I understand it quite a bit. The same goes for Turkish. I understand more than I can express, and it's just a start, and that's enough for me. Learning languages is a journey, not a competition. What's fascinating is how our brains adapt. The more languages you learn, the easier it gets. It's like your brain becomes a high-performance machine. And let's continue with the big question. Why learn languages in the first place? Some people say, I live in Uzbekistan, where Uzbek is spoken by approximately 85% of the population. Why do I need to learn more? Well, let me tell you about my uncle. He is in his 50s, and you would think it's too late for him to learn something new, right? But no, he wanted to learn Russian. Not because he had to, but because he wanted to enjoy his favorite movies, and maybe to watch sports with live commentary, and maybe to inspire the younger ones in the family. And guess what? He did it. Not in a classroom, not with a tutor, just by watching and enjoying himself. Today he's chatting away in Russian like it's no big deal. He proves that age is just a number. Okay. You know, once I tried to watch an English movie dubbed in Uzbek, and let's just say it was like eating pizza without cheese. You still get the idea, but something is just missing. And that, my friends, is a feeling you get when you experience something in its original form, whether it's a movie, a conversation, or life itself. Language brings out the real flavors, the real emotions, and the real connections. And now, imagine this. What if there was only one language in the world? Just one universal language, everyone could speak it perfectly, and no barriers, no misunderstandings. Sounds pretty great, right? No more awkward conversations, no more language mix-ups in restaurants. But wouldn't that be kind of boring? A world with only one language would mean no accents, no colorful expressions, no hidden meanings in phrases, no regional quirks. And that's where the magic happens. Each language brings something unique, something special that shapes our identity, shapes who we are. And you know, a world with only one language would mean eating your favorite food every day forever. Sure, it's good, but after a while you would miss a little variety. The true power of language comes from its diversity. And let me share a real, touching moment I witnessed. There's a little 5-year-old girl. She's from India, and you know, she's a speaker of English and Hindi languages with a little knowledge of Uzbek. Yaxshi, Rahmat, Kalaysiz are some of the words that she relies on. She started attending a kindergarten, and you know, you can very well imagine her situation now. Almost no verbal communication with her Uzbek playmates. And for now, it's only fun, socializing, eating, relaxing for her at school. Nevertheless, her parents, both of them are professors, say that she's a strong-headed girl in the early years of her childhood. And she would, as they say, a person who speaks one language or two languages is two people. And she would soon be a polyglot as Iman, an Indian, Imana in Uzbek, Emi in English, and Emilia, a Russian. And it's especially this is a chance for her to learn and appreciate the Uzbek language, the glorious culture, and the friends with strange language at school. I know another Uzbek girl, Maya, almost same age. Once I saw these little two girls belong to different cultures, but holding hands, smiling, laughing, and sharing abundant joy of friendship. They don't share a language, but they communicate with ease. For Maya, English is still a strange language, as it was for me a couple of years ago. And, let's be honest. Could we, as adults, pull that off? Could we make meaningful connections without understanding each other's language? Could we just hold hands and smile? Maybe it's harder for us, right? But that's the power of language. When you unlock it, you can communicate in ways beyond words. In the last 4 years, 30,000 of our youth have achieved IELTS certificate of 7 or higher. Among them, nearly 3,000 have scored 8. And 30, if I'm not mistaken, have achieved a perfect score of 9. That's something to be proud of. But don't stop at just one language. Keep going. As Nawai wrote in محاكمات اللغتين, when Turks, he meant modern Uzbeks, learn Persian, they speak it so fluently that you can't tell they aren't native speakers. But when Persians speak Turkish, you can recognize it from just one sentence. That means we have a natural talent for languages. And, one day, you will even start dreaming in your second language, just like me. And that's when you realize that you have truly acquired it not by memorizing rules, but by learning it naturally, like a baby does. The secret? Learning languages doesn't have to be hard. You don't need fancy textbooks or expensive classes. You just need curiosity. Watch movies, sing songs, make mistakes, because trust me, mistakes are half the fun. For the time, I confidently told someone in Turkish that I was very delicious instead of very excited. They agreed, by the way. And, my language story is, it may seem, it's just a simple girl, but when I started it, as I said, it felt strange. But by the end of the year, I earned my CFR certificate. And the following year, I started working at the same learning center as a teacher, sharing what I had learned and helping others on their language journeys. So, pick a language from today and start learning it from now on. And, don't wait for the perfect moment, because there isn't one. The world is waiting, so are all the amazing people you will meet along the way. Thank you so much.